Ava Mitchell, who was quietly pouring tea nearby, shot a sharp look at Emma. The Empress Dowager continued, implying that while Emma's feelings were not profound, it was for the best. Elijah Collins interjected with resolute tone, addressing his grandmother. He stated firmly, "You are mistaken. Emma's affection for me is unwavering. If I betray her, how can Ava Mitchell ever earn the people's trust?" The Empress Dowager shook her head. "Ava Mitchell is too young to understand. Let the Empress Dowager show what true wisdom in a crown princess looks like." The Empress Dowager ordered 50 items to be brought forth, each unique and resplendent. The challenge was simple. Ava Mitchell and Emma Sullivan were to determine which object had once belonged to Crown Prince Elijah Collins, all within the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Each of them could ask Elijah Collins 3 questions, to which he could only answer yes or no. The court maids watched, eagerly whispering among themselves. Everyone knew that Lady Ava Mitchell was renowned for her intelligence. Ava Mitchell had caught fugitives on the run for years. Finding the Crown Prince's belongings should be effortless for Ava Mitchell. Lady Emma Sullivan, on the other hand, knew nothing of worth. Lady Emma Sullivan would likely just pick 3 random objects and hope for the best. The Empress Dowager must have set this up to humiliate Emma Sullivan. Emma Sullivan glanced at Ava Mitchell, who wore a confident smile as she handed in her questions. Ava Mitchell graciously offered, "Why don't you take the first guess?" The onlookers busied themselves with pretended tasks, polishing windows and sweeping floors, but their eyes were firmly fixed on Emma Sullivan. Even Elijah Collins did not seem to believe Emma would figure it out. Emma looked at the slip of paper handed back to her, then at the array of items. "That one," Emma pointed. "It's the brooch." The Empress Dowager's gaze sharpened. "Elijah, how dare you play favorites?" The Empress Dowager was certain he had given Emma the answer, but when the paper was flipped over, it bore only a single line. "Can you truthfully tell me the answer?" Yes, that was Ava Mitchell's sole question. The Empress Dowager paused, then turned to Emma Sullivan. Suspicion flickered in the Empress Dowager's eyes. Could it be that Emma Sullivan truly is Ava Mitchell, ready to make her dazzling move? Ava Mitchell froze in disbelief. Impossible. Ava Mitchell must have seen it. Standing by the Crown Prince's side, the Empress Dowager's tone was tinged with nostalgia. This brooch was a birthday gift that Elijah Collins chose for his father when he was 13. Elijah Collins scoured all of Central City to find it. Elijah Collins' father cherished it too much to wear. It seemed that the Empress Dowager had grown old. The Empress Dowager beckoned Emma closer, patting Emma's hand kindly. The Empress Dowager asked, "Tell me, how did you know it was the brooch?" In truth, Emma remembered it vividly because Emma had sold it at the age of 13. Emma had hawked a pile of family belongings at a small street stall, earning a sound scolding from General Sullivan for it. Seeing the brooch at the Crown Prince's residence a few days prior had connected the dots for Emma. But Emma couldn't admit to such a scandalous past. Instead, Emma offered a vague explanation. The brooch simply gave Emma the same feeling as Elijah Collins. The Empress Dowager nodded sagely, acknowledging the moment. Emma Sullivan blinked, utterly confused. "What exactly did you see, Your Majesty?" Elijah Collins draped his cloak over Emma's shoulders, his voice low and teasing. "The Crown Princess and I truly are of one mind." Emma forced a polite smile. Night had fallen, and the Empress Dowager arranged for Emma and Elijah to stay in the palace. The meals served in the palace were far better than those at Elijah's residence or Emma's own home, leaving her content and full. As Emma prepared for bed, she completely forgot about her sleepwalking tendencies from home. June would hold Emma tightly to stop Emma from wandering. But that night in the palace, Emma rose in the dead of night, restless, pushing open a door. Emma stumbled into Elijah Collins' chamber and made her way to the bed. When morning came, Emma woke to find herself lying beside Elijah Collins. Elijah's thick and dark lashes rested against his sharp cheekbones. Elijah's face was peaceful, yet maddeningly handsome. Emma's skin touched Elijah's warmth, radiating against hers. Emma gazed at Elijah for a moment before reflexively kicking him off the bed. Face flushed, Emma Sullivan stammered, "Scoundrel!" Elijah Collins stirred, undoing the collar of his pristine white shirt to reveal faint red marks. "Would you care to explain, Crown Princess? Just who is the scoundrel here?" Horrified, Emma covered her eyes. "I didn't see anything. I peeped through my fingers, maybe just a little." Elijah caught Emma's gaze, his tone almost accusatory. "What are you thinking? Do you not recall anything from last night?" When it finally dawned on Emma. This was his room. Her sleepwalking had led her straight into trouble, and she had accidentally offended the Crown Prince. A prince's honor was priceless, and Emma Sullivan felt an overwhelming sense of desperation at the thought of repaying such a debt. Emma denied any memory, stating nothing, absolutely nothing. However, Elijah Collins was not one to let matters rest. He questioned, "Why does your warmth linger on me? How do you intend to compensate for this?" Frustrated, Emma threw off the blanket and pressed her hand firmly against Elijah's chest. "Fine. I touched you, so what? We are betrothed. How can this possibly be improper?" Elijah seemed speechless, caught off guard. Seizing the moment, Emma fled, her hands trembling as she returned home. Olivia Harper, the Prime Minister's daughter, waited at the gate. Emma Sullivan's house was so impoverished that even thieves ignored it. Yet Olivia stood there gracefully, her water-colored gown and white veil fluttering in the breeze. Her voice was gentle and sweet as she addressed Emma. "Lady Emma, I felt such a connection with you at the palace banquet. Shall we go shopping together?" June leaned in to whisper to Emma, "This smells like a trap." But Olivia's constant use of the term sister bewitched Emma, as her father had only ever called her brat. Emma Sullivan wondered what Olivia Harper could possibly gain from her. A gust of wind rattled the rickety signboard outside the shop. June remained silent, recognizing the point. Shopping required money, and Emma had promised her father that she would reform her spendthrift ways. Olivia pointed to the famous pastries at the Silver Stag Inn. "Would you like some?" Emma hesitated, recalling her father's warning. Such luxuries were designed to swindle the wealthy. Tempted, Emma shook her head. They passed a clothing shop, and Olivia suggested, "It's getting cold. Would you like a new coat?" Olivia smiled, clearly noticing Emma's financial plight. Olivia pointed out, "You've come out shopping, but haven't bought a thing. How about this? I'll have everything you glanced at wrapped up." Emma hesitated, realizing she had looked at nearly everything on the street. "Hold on," Emma began to protest. "Don't worry," Olivia said soothingly. "It's not your money." Emma blinked. "Oh, well then." Before Emma could finish, Olivia Harper added with a sly grin as the Crown Princess, It's only right that your fiancé foots the bill. Charge it to the Crown Prince. Old Emma's jaw dropped. Now Emma understood. Olivia wasn't a friend. She was a nemesis in disguise. Olivia Harper, Emma yelled, kicking over the metaphorical boat of their budding friendship. We have no quarrel. Why would you do this to me? Beneath her veil, Olivia Harper's pale cheeks were cold as frost. Do you know how long it took me to paint that? What? She asked. Olivia Harper's voice trembled with suppressed fury. The memory struck Olivia. Suddenly, the painting that Emma Sullivan had recently borrowed from the first painting house came to mind. 10 years, Olivia exclaimed, her eyes glistening with tears. 10 whole years of toil, dreaming of fame, and I finally succeeded in having it displayed at the first painting house. And then you, Olivia's voice cracked. You burned it to ashes? Emma quickly replied. It wasn't me. It was my father. But then again, I was the one who took the painting on credit, and my father burned it because of me. After an awkward pause, Emma lowered her head and confessed smoothly. You're right, it's all my fault. I'm sorry. Tell me what you want, and I'll buy it for you, Olivia. Olivia Harper had expected excuses, not this swift and unreserved admission of guilt. For a moment, Olivia was at a loss for words. She turned her gaze aside. What use is an apology? Save it for the Crown Prince, who forbids extravagance. In the Imperial Garden, the Emperor sat beside Crown Prince Elijah Collins, both occupied with fishing. The Emperor glanced at the rod in his son's hand and remarked, If memory serves, you've been using that fishing rod for nearly 8 years. Now, Elijah Collins's expression remained indifferent. The rod sage matters not. But surely a rod requires a hook, the Emperor stated. Elijah Collins had been this way since childhood. The Emperor added, You'll never win the Crown Princess's favor with such an attitude. Elijah Collins responded, There's no need for concern, Father. She and I are kindred spirits. The Emperor's gaze turned inscrutable. A guard suddenly burst in, his face pale. Your Highness, there's trouble. The chief eunuch frowned. How dare you disturb His Majesty? The guard bowed and stammered. Lady Emma Sullivan and Lady Olivia Harper are shopping and charging everything to Crown Prince Elijah Collins's account. The guard's incredulity was palpable. 2 ladies? What could they possibly spend? Elijah Collins's expression remained calm. Let them buy what they wish. The guard hesitated, his face reddening with outrage. Your Highness, they've spent your salary for the past 10 years. At that, Crown Prince Elijah Collins's composure finally faltered. When Elijah Collins arrived at Emma Sullivan's house, Emma knelt before her late mother's memorial tablet in repentance. The table before Emma was stacked with land deeds and property titles from various merchants, while the courtyard overflowed with luxurious and random items. General Sullivan paced behind Emma, his hands clasped behind his back as he reprimanded her. You grew up without a mother. When you were 3, those brats in the alley buried you in the snow. But when you got older, you beat every one of them senseless. For that, I didn't blame you. That wasn't why you beat them. It was because they stole your pet turtle, Emma. Emma attempted to interject, but General Sullivan silenced Emma with a glare. I don't want to hear it. I had little money to raise you. You wore hand-me-downs and ate scraps. Yet you still grew up healthy. And now look at you squandering the Crown Prince's fortune as if it is nothing. If you wanted something, You could have told me. Even if I had to slaughter every pig in the land, I would have gotten it for you," General Sullivan said as he picked up a whip. Tears streamed down his face. "Today, in front of your mother's spirit, I'll teach you a lesson," General Sullivan added before Emma could respond. June dropped to her knees, pleading for mercy on behalf of Emma Sullivan. June exclaimed that Emma was too frail to endure such punishment. Emma stared, dumbfounded by the scene unfolding around her. June threw herself over Emma, wailing, "My poor young mistress!" Emma's eyes stung, a sharp sensation, akin to pepper scattered into them. Emma wanted to explain that everything could be returned, but a familiar voice interrupted. General Sullivan, Elijah Collins, stood at the entrance. His gaze softened with pity as he looked at Emma. "This is all my idea," Elijah said calmly. "Emma is not to blame." Emma blinked. Ha! Inside the humble room, Edmund Sullivan and Elijah Collins sat down. Or rather, Edmund sat while Elijah had to stand, as there was only one stool available. "Your Highness does not blame Emma for her extravagance?" Edmund asked cautiously. "I have been preoccupied with the corruption case," Elijah replied, his tone apologetic. "I have neglected her, and her actions are understandable." "But what if this is her true nature?" Edmund pressed, still lost in the tragic backstory. Elijah had imagined a future for Emma, even if that future included flaws. Elijah accepted it. June, who had been eavesdropping by the door, later relayed the conversation to Emma that night. Emma hugged her pillow and cried for hours. How could General Sullivan speak so poorly of her? The next morning, Elisha Collins came to see Emma. Emma's eyes were still swollen from crying, and Elijah's face looked equally weary. Emma understood why she had spent all of Elijah's money. He must have been so desperate that he had gone to West City to slaughter pigs, just like General Sullivan. After all, as Elijah Collins left Emma Sullivan's house last night, Emma overheard Elijah asking her father, "How much can you earn for each pig you slaughter?" A crown prince, reduced to such indignity. It was unimaginable. Emma tried to return the deeds and titles to Elijah, but as she extended them, Elijah's hand caught hers. Then unexpectedly, Elijah leaned down and pressed a warm kiss to Emma's forehead. "You need not worry, my crown princess," Elijah murmured. "I'll never let you live as you once did." Elijah's sharp jawline was so close, his features striking. Emma Sullivan found Elijah Collins so striking that her heart pounded furiously. For a moment, Emma forgot how to breathe. Wait, what was Emma going to say? Somehow, Emma became the owner of several shops, including a stake in a Silver Stag Inn. When the inn's wealthy patron returned to Central City, he threw a lavish banquet in Emma's honor. Naturally, Emma attended. How could Emma pass up free food at her shop? The event turned into a reunion of sorts. A delicate-looking man with teary eyes approached Emma. "It really is you?" Emma blinked and asked, "And you are?" Dogan Miller's voice trembled as he revealed, "It's me, Dogan Miller." In the past, Emma Sullivan might have quipped that she knew plenty of people named Dogan. However, recently Emma had learned some tact from the ladies at the palace. "Oh, it's you. What a surprise. It's been ages, Dogan," Emma responded warmly. Dogan's next words struck like thunder. "Do you still want to marry me? You always said you'd marry the richest man in the city." Emma choked on her drink, replying, "I'm already betrothed."